play. I want to go back there if just for a day. Chat about gory things that they watch. Zombie tales and a vampire's munch. Slasher thrills and a ghost find prey. I want to go back there if just for a day. Deadpit's on and I gotta stay. Back to their voices, let my troubles sway. Where horror roams and creatures play. I want to go back there if just for a day. Creepy fears under full moon's cast. Rewind the scars from a bloody past. Redneck tales in December or May. Deadpit wants to go back there if just for a day. Laughter echoes through the night. Fear and fun at Appalachian Light. Voices curse and the banjos play. I just want to go back there just for a day. Deadpit's on and I gotta stay. Back to their voices, let my troubles sway. Where whole shit roams and the toothless play. I want to go back there just for a day.
Woo, doggies.
Hey.
Howdy, everybody. Welcome. I'm the Creepy Kentuckian.
And I'm Uncle Bill.
And boy, oh boy, do we have a show tonight.
You know, my bingo card of shit that was going to happen in 2024, this was not on it, but I am super excited, man. Like, this is, what, 17 years?
A long time. Yeah, like 2006, 2007 era. It's taking us back to the blog TV days, to the stick ham days, like some of the original live streams. And a lot of people have been wondering where this lady has been for 15 years or however long it's been. And tonight she is on the DEADPIT channel, the original YouTube horror hostess. I think she has to be one of the first on YouTube, all of YouTube.
Gotta be.
Gotta be. The lovely.
And I'll tell you this.
Okay.
I'll tell you this before
Tell
you
me.
introduce her. I'm going to tell you right now. She was the best if she wasn't the first. That's just the truth.
She's the best around.
She's the best around. Nothing's going to keep her down. And, like, I got to say, man, knowledge of horror films, presentation, like, she was doing shit that people today are just catching up to. So back in 2006 and 2007,
Oh,
2007.
Yeah, way back in the glory days, yeah.
So all the respect in the world.
Miko, Macabre, what's going on?
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
How are you? Where have you been?
Oh, yeah, I've been locked in someone's trunk for 17 years. You know, it's been.
We
Pretty
thought
cool.
so.
It's been a long time. Been a while.
It's been a hot moment. You know, I was only 14 when I started doing those videos online.
That's what I heard. Yeah, 14.
14, yeah. So everyone should wait for the FBI to arrive at their house for whatever they did to those videos. So
Maybe that's what happened to Steve.
That's definitely what happened to Steve.
All right, so
great to be back.
It's great to have you back. Like, this is something seriously though. Like, I brought up over the years multiple times on these streams and like on shows and things like that. Like, the question of whatever happened to and what could have been and yada 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 and what blah, blah, blah. But before any of that, take us back to like 2000, I guess would have been around 2006 or whenever the genesis of this idea comes about. Like, how did this come about? How did Cryptique?
Because you got to remember too, YouTube was in its infancy at this point. Like, what year did YouTube even start? Like 2006, 2005, 2006.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, how did it start? I mean, I'm sure it goes back to same as you guys. Like, I've loved horror films since I was young. Like, I grew up on them. I grew up outside Pittsburgh where like George Romero was like king. And the three things that really inspired Cryptique were Mystery Science Theater, which I would watch all the time. Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, who like one of my idols for sure, and then Joe Bob Briggs from Monster Vision. And it was like those three things trying to come together. I wanted to do like the skits of Mystery Science Theater. I wanted to provide the commentary from like Joe Bob Briggs. And then I wanted to do, you know, the Elvira kind of like schlocky, sexy, kind of like cheesy jokes, you know, and infuse it with a little like sex and all that stuff. So that was kind of the inspiration for it. And yeah, and it was just I got a crew of friends. I was in college at the time. I think I was 19. I wasn't 14. I was a joke. But I was 19 and I was in college, and I had a lot of friends that were like, we like these movies too. Let's get a crew together. We'll film it on a potato. So we got like the potato camera, and we put it on YouTube.
We know about those.
It was really fun. It was just like a fun thing, and I loved doing it. It was, you know, but it was for the love of the films. Like I really liked the movies. So
very cool. So we already have over 100 people in here checking this out. So you were wondering if anybody remembered Miko Macabre.
It's, man, yeah, there's a lot of people that do. I'll just say that.
Crazy.
And there's a lot of people that I was looking when I was just trying to like look up information and stuff today. There's some really interesting like fan generated sites about that show, and I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna end up going down a rabbit hole if I click on this shit. So I'm probably not gonna. But yes, there is a large gathering of people that do.
very cool.
So through your show, I mean, I'm not really sure how we kind of met online. It must have been through YouTube. There wasn't a whole lot of people doing the horror content or anything on YouTube back then. Do you remember it all?
Yeah, I think I sought you guys out because you really had like the first horror message board, and you guys had a cool ass message. This is like the days of like the message board days, you know. It was a fun time, and you guys really had the only like horror film message board that was out there. I'm thinking of like the other message boards that were like popular. There was like Something Awful, if you guys remember, like Something Awful, like that, but that wasn't like film related. You guys were like kind of like the only like horror film message board. And I think I like saw you guys out because I was like, who else is like, where else is there a community? Because YouTube was kind of all over the place at this point. There wasn't like a community. And you guys really had like the first horror community of people that were like interacting with each other and friendly with each other, which I thought was like super cool. So I think I found the mess. I think I stumbled upon the message board and was posting on it. And then I was like, hey guys, like I also made this dumb show. Like you guys want to look at it? Like, and we're like, all right, we'll check it out.
Well, that was kind of how you promoted stuff back in the day too, because this was way before, I mean, MySpace, I guess, was around if you considered that like social media or whatever.
Yeah.
But you kind of had to do your grassroots campaign and sort of thing to get your name out there then. And message boards was the way to do it. I know I did it a lot on the horrordvds.com message board was like my big go-to back when we first started. So, but yeah, I mean, I love the message board days. The only thing that we have close to that nowadays is the Discord, which I don't know if you do Discord, but it's similar, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy, but not as crazy as the message boards were. So you're going through, you're making these, videos for YouTube. Do you notice that they do well? I mean, are you noticing that like?
Not really. I was just kind of doing them to do them, which is like, I look back on it and I'm shocked at the people that really love them, because I was just doing it because like I wanted to have fun with my friends and I love these movies. And like, yeah, sure, like it was great to get a comment saying, oh, we love you. But it didn't register with me that people really liked it until I stopped doing them. And then I did see some of the comments of being like, oh no, like, where did this go? But like when I was doing them, it was more of a desire to just like, to do it for my own, like, I love the film so much, I want to do it type of thing. I was shocked to see how much people actually liked the show. because I didn't think it was like that good. Like the production quality was quite low on many of the videos, and it was, you know, just a lot of me and my friends goofing off for quite a bit of time. But I think it did resonate with people more than I thought it did, because there was a nostalgia to it, which is kind of the reason I made them, because it was, you know, kind of harkening back to, you know, a different era of time with the movies and the commentary and the skits and the cheese and the, you know, all that stuff. So
I remember a lot of those episodes you had footage from the movies, right?
Yeah.
And this was kind of back in the day too, when YouTube was like the wild, wild
Yeah,
west.
it
dude. You
was.
could pretty much do whatever the hell you wanted. And then like, I don't know, 2011, 2012 era, they started cracking down and the monetization with all the big studios and everything. Did you see any of that affecting that channel over the years? Like, randomly, here's a copyright claim or whatever else.
I mean, I got cease and desist letters from a production company. I had to take stuff down, and that's eventually why I quit, because it was just too burdensome to keep like doing it. It was one of the reasons I quit was I had stuff removed from my channel for copyright infringement. And I don't know if anyone's ever tried to put anything on YouTube recently, but you can't even like put up anything that has audio, because it's automatically recognized by like the AI system there. They'll just remove it immediately. It's just not a platform for any type of fair use. You know, it's like YouTube is not
usually with the trailers and promotional stuff, you may be okay, but even sometimes, like Universal Studios is the worst. Oh my God. Anything Universal immediately claimed. Immediately.
I think I've even tried to put trailer stuff on, and it just recognizes the audio and removes it immediately. I think it depends on what hits on their database, but it was crazy. Like it was just a wild time. So
yeah, and back then it was just for the love of the game, really. I mean, no, there was no way to make money off of it. It was a lot of like vlogging and stuff like that. That was a big thing then too, which is not really, I mean, maybe some people do it, but that was, and they would do like video responses. You could do video responses, and they took that away. And there's a lot of cool things that YouTube had back in the early days that was a lot more, I don't know, fun, fan friendly, if you will. And it could help you get your channel out there, like the video responses and all that. I wish they would bring that back.
So ultimately, around that time, we're talking probably what, 2007 to 2009, something like that.
I would say like, yeah, 2007 to 2008, I think.
2008.
Yeah.
So you putting these episodes out. I loved them. I know we watched them all the time. Like that's one thing I know, and pretty much a lot of people on the board watched them and stuff.
Well,
too.
if I'm not mistaken, the Night of the Demons episode, Kevin Tenney was a big fan as well. Because we saw him at, what year was that? 2007 at that Fright Night Film Fest. And that was right around the time that video came out, I think maybe, because he was the one talking about it. He brought it up. So I don't know if you knew that.
Funny. That was my first episode. That was the first episode. I think I had just turned 19 at that time. And I've always been a huge Night of the Demons fan. I'm like, that's the first episode that I want to do, because I just think it's like, it's such a fun movie. Like there's a movie to talk about with your friends, like about like Halloween, like it's that one for sure. So that's crazy. But it also has like the lowest production quality. I just rewatched it the other day when I was getting ready for this. I was like, oh man, like we just did not have like good.
Oh, you mean your video had the lowest production quality at that time? I mean, I think that kind of like added to it though. And at that time on YouTube, there wasn't, I mean, a lot of people with high quality, you know, production values or anything.
Yeah.
But here's the difference though. You had a set, number one, which I always thought was crazy for that time period. You had a set. It looked like you had, yeah, we never had anything like that. It looked like you had some sort of, I don't know if you had lighting of some kind or something, but like, I would be curious to know what that setup was.
Oh my God.
Co-host is my favorite co-host.
Oh, wait, which one?
Candelabra.
The candelabra. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that I got at the thrift store for like 39 cents. The whole thing was filmed in my dorm, which was there were 3 rooms with like a common area, and we filmed it in the common area. And my dorm mates would get so pissed at me because I'd be like, I'm filming like for 8 hours in the common area, no one can use it, and we would have to like, they'd be like washing their hands in the sink, and you could hear it, like, and we'd be like, can you stop
So
washing?
killer.
We actually hear like a paper towel dispenser, I think, in one of the episodes where it's like pumping paper towels, and I'm like, hey, we're trying to film over here, like, what are you doing? Like, it was just like, it was crazy. So it was very fun.
We got a bunch of people in the chat. I guess we can go through it here quick and we'll get back into the little interview that we're doing. But yeah, it's good to have you on here. I think we used to do, you showed up for some Saturday Nightmares episodes years and years and years and years ago, like the blog TV or Stickam or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But never had we ever had you on anything like this. So we appreciate you returning to YouTube for DEADPIT. That's really cool.
Oh, yeah.
But Jackson Jack, the original DEADPIT queen, boss. I wouldn't argue with that.
No.
Before Steve, he said. Dino, CK and Uncle Bill with the classic queen of the pit. Love all your shows, top notch as always. Yeah, Dino's an old school guy. TJ Frizzy, old school, the Mikoist of them all. The Frankenstein was on the DEADPIT board back in the day.
Oh.
We got Uncle Bill's favorite, Black Peter, in here. He says, let's kick it old school style. What is up, fellas? All right, so lots of people in here checking the show out. L.A. Jewel says that he has a bag of Mingwa beef jerky. Do you know what Mingwa beef jerky is? Is that in your area? It's Kentucky based. It's awful too. I'm not a fan.
Not good.
It's like eating fucking sandpaper with like fucking, it's like if somebody dipped sandpaper in soy sauce. That's Mingwa beef jerky.
So a couple of the comments on here too, though, and I kind of agree with this. LA Jewel says, looking back at the videos, they had way better production quality than most things on YouTube. I think that's true.
Oh yeah. We were using like a Kodak Easy Share camera early on. Like, I don't even know what resolution that was. 140p or something like that.
Oh, love the Miko Night of the Demons drinking game vid.
Yep.
Uh,
DEADPIT royalty, says Jackson Jack. Dr. Giggles is in here. What the hell's going on?
Mm-hmm. What? Okay.
Huh? Boy be rad in here is asking if she's rad. Are you rad?
I guess.
He was born to
She
be rad.
rad.
There it is.
What a weird question.
Yes, it is. I
I
agree.
guess, whatever.
TJ is one of the big fanatics. He had some critique vids saved on a hard drive for the last 12 years. Do you have like some of the original files left or anything? Did you keep any of that stuff?
You know, I don't, but I think everything now, I went back into my YouTube the other day. It took me like 30 password tries to get into my old account, and I released everything that was on there. There is one portion of an episode, I think it's the burial ground episode, that was removed forcibly by YouTube. And I think it was because I was naked in it or something like that, that like got flagged as like,
That'll do it. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that usually does it. Although sometimes I've seen people get away with it for a while. I think there's if it's educational purposes, they'll allow it on YouTube.
Listen, there. I don't even get into it, but yes, there's a whole sub genre of educational videos that I've never watched them. I've heard of them.
Yeah, they're showing you how to check yourself for breast cancer or whatever. And
yeah. Yep. A lot of never mind. So
we got
real quick, because this is a part that I've always been curious about, and I'm trying to get my Miko background knowledge going here. Wasn't there a period of time when you stopped doing the original run of like what y'all were doing, and didn't a production company or somebody like that pick up that show? I remember this somehow.
Yeah. So it originally started with me and my college friends just fucking around, like, and doing our thing. And then it did, now that I think of it, it did get some attention. And there was a production company that was really just one dude in, it sounds shady. There was like one dude in LA that like was like, I love
He
this.
was like, "Hey, you
Yeah,
want to be in a
yeah.
production
Come
company?"
to my bedroom and film privately for me, you know, like
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh shit! One of
Yeah.
those deals, huh?
But he was actually like, he's a super good guy. He's actually a talent. His name is Jay Holben. And he's just a fan of, the thing is, he's just a fan of the films. And he was like, I'd like to do like a couple runs of this and just see where it goes. And so he did put money into it. And you could see the difference in the production quality from the shift in seasons. And he's done a lot of great work outside of the horror industry, though he's like a big horror fan. And yeah, so I did go out to LA for a summer, and I shot, I think, 3 episodes out there. I did Basket Case, Silent Night, Deadly Night, and I think Army of Darkness. So
Mhm.
there's 3 episodes that were filmed out in LA with a budget, you know, and people can debate whether something was lost when I did that, because it loses a little bit of the grassroots feel that I think some people were drawn to in the first season of it. But there were 3 episodes filmed out there. So,
And that was around what time was that? That was a little while later, right? If I'm not mistaken.
it's a year later. I think that was 2000. I think it was. I remember being in LA and I could not drink, so I had to have been 20, which means it would have been 2007 back
Oh,
then.
okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I think it was a year after I did the original stuff with my friends.
So is there anything in particular that caused you to just abruptly quit doing the episodes?
You know, I graduated school, and I was working so much that I had like 3 jobs. It's just like, not only was I working so much, but the people that I filmed with in college all moved away. It was like, you know, several factors. I was working so much because, you know, I didn't have like a job, and the people I filmed with moved away. So it was just one of those natural things of like, I'd love to keep doing it, but you know, my cameraman now lives in Missouri, and you know, the person that would help me edit now lives in, you know, Pittsburgh, type of thing. And it was just, and also now I'm working, you know, 3 jobs to make ends meet because I'm living in the city and stuff like that. So that's it wasn't that I didn't love it and I would have loved to keep doing it. It was just kind of one of those life gets in the way things, which I think everyone can relate to.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
somebody asked in the chat too, and I'm curious because it kind of ties in with what you were saying too. Are you still into horror movies as much as you were back then?
Oh yes, I'm a huge horror fan, and I've been ever since. Like I really do keep up with it. I have to say I'm still like more of an old head. Like I do like the older films more, but I keep up with the new ones, and I try to like, you know, watch the indie films when they come out and stuff like that. But like give me a night by myself, I'm putting on like an old horror film, like one of the deep cuts. So I don't know if anyone has any questions about horror films, but I can like hold my own on that department.
Oh,
Very
they
cool.
will.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry, they will.
Yeah. Well, and this is another thing that I know we'd get question on. Phantasmat is asking if you're fond of the new physical media thing's a huge thing now. Like some of the smaller boutique labels. Do you buy any physical media anymore, or do you primarily just stream stuff?
No, I do like DVDs, and I was doing streaming for a long time, and then I would say in the last like 5 years I got back into because I was a big VHS fan back in the day, and then I got rid of my VHS because I was like, I'm moving, and it's hard to like schlep these things. I'm like, VHS. And then one of my friends here got a VHS and be like, wouldn't it be fun if we watched like VHS? I'm like, yeah, like great. But then I was streaming things for a while, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to buckle down and get a DVD player, because you do miss the, like, once I got the DVD player and I started like playing the DVDs, Like I put in like Cronenberg's The Fly the other day, and like the intro screen is awesome. It's like the fly buzzing around, and like you get the extras. And I do think there's something lost in streaming that you just like the DVD, like do the DVDs. Like you get the DVDs are for true film lovers. You get the extras, you get the intro screen. It's like some of the extras are really good too. Like like a lot of them are 2-disc sets, and like the second disc is like fantastic. So I am slowly building back up my DVD catalog.
Commentaries as well.
Yeah.
Commentaries.
I forgot about this too, but Matt's kind of bringing it up, and it kind of triggered me to remember. He says, let's talk about Italian horror then. And that reminds me, like, you were one of the first people that I saw do like an actual video about an Italian horror film on YouTube when you did Burial Ground.
And this was before a lot of people knew what in the hell Burial Ground was. It's not like today.
Which I encourage everybody to watch that video just for the Knights of Terror cutaway that keeps happening like throughout the video, which is amazing. But yeah, I mean, were you into Italian horror films at that time?
I love, and Italian horror is probably one of my favorite genres. Like I'm a huge Argento fan. Obviously everyone loves Argento, but I like the schlocky stuff too. I mean, like Burial Ground was always one of my favorites just because it's a schlocky film and it's a fun film. Fulci, I love Fulci films. I think they're great. Demons is one of my comfort films. Like, and I like Demons 2 as well. I think Demons 2 is not as good as the original Demons, but like I do like Demons 2. Cemetery Man, The Church. It's that's I can't pronounce his name. Was it Michelle
Soavi?
Yeah. Michele Soavi. Yeah.
You got it, yeah.
I like I really do enjoy his films because there's an artistry to them. And yeah, Black Sunday, I think is a great film. I'm trying to think of, I mean, like.
Have you went down the Bruno Mattei rabbit hole?
The what?
The Bruno Mattei rabbit hole.
Hell of the Living Dead, Rats.
Oh, yes.
Vincent Dawn. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I've seen Hell of the Living Dead. I haven't seen the other one. What's the other one?
There's a lot. Cruel Jaws is another one that he did. Have you ever heard of that one? That's the unofficial Jaws 5. Cruel Jaws. Yeah.
It's horrible. Rats is another one that like it was like a 2-pack. Hell of the Living Dead and Rats that came out on DVD, and I think Blue Underground put it out, which was like, if you haven't seen Rats, you need to see it because it is like the perfect, horrible, campy, like Italian horror film.
And it's about rats. I haven't seen this one.
It's a post-apocalyptic
It's a zombie movie with rats.
About rats. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna put this on my list.
Tubi is your friend. If you've got Tubi, all the shit's on there. So.
Tubi, like, is great. Once you're on like page 13 of the Tubi results at like 4:00 in the morning, like you're in some deep shit.
Yeah, like, you're in the fucking weeds like Vietnam.
Yeah. If you like the hokey cheesy stuff, you got to check out.
You get on page like 16. There's like actual like snuff films. It's like the JFK assassination video from like a different angle. Like it's crazy.
This is a Bruder film.
Yeah.
But remastered.
But it's like a completely different angle, and you're like, like I don't remember JFK's head blowing up that direction.
Yeah, you don't notice, but like you go like into cartel snuff videos later on.
We've got a bunch of questions on here.
Yeah, I don't know who this person is, but I want to bring this up real quick because Rambo, who's been around as long as any of us, almost damn near 20 years now on YouTube as well, says Miko seems like a smarter, more competent, and prettier Grace Randolph.
Who's Grace Randolph?
Nice to meet you. I don't know who Grace
Randolph is. Some dumb bitch, I guess. No, I'm just.
I have no idea who that is.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like,
fuck her.
Yeah.
She's a hooah.
Yeah. Hooah.
Jack, what are some of Miko's earliest horror memories? My mom watches Halloween every October, so I've been watching it since I can remember like 5 or 6. So like earliest, I guess, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think many horror fans can probably, relate that we all saw horror films when we were like, my mom was like a big spooky bitch. Like my mom was great. She was fantastically into horror films. I saw Poltergeist when I was probably around 6 years old, which scared the shit out of me. I have no idea how that film got a PG rating because it is a terrifying film, and it got a PG rating. It's bonkers to me.
Spielberg.
Yeah.
That's
It's
the only way.
He has
It's a
friends.
creepy film. It's a
Yeah.
scary. It's a really like the scene where like they're pulling the guy's pulling his face off. Imagine a 6-year-old watching. It's nuts to me. And then I did see, because we were a Romero household, I did see the original Night of the Living Dead, I think when I was like 9 or 10, which scared the shit out of me. And my parents were very lax with like the renting of horror films. So I did get to rent. I remember my mother had one rule, which was I couldn't rent anything that had like bare titties on the cover. So as long as there weren't like exposed breasts on the VHS cover, I was allowed to rent it, which got me I got to rent a lot of stuff. So I saw like, I have a great, if I may tell a story, when I think I was like 10, I was able to rent Blood-Sucking Freaks, which was a trauma film. It's a wild, it's a wild film. And I watched it by myself when I was like 10. And I was like, holy shit. I was like, I had a sleepover the next day, like a girls with like 5 other girls. I was like, I'm going to take this fucking movie. I was like, we're going to watch it. It's going to be great. So I took it over to my friend's house. I got there at like 3 p.m. And then we went outside to play wiffle ball. And while we were playing wiffle ball, I guess her parents watched it to like ensure that there was nothing untoward in it. And I got back from playing wiffle ball and her parents were like, just apoplectic. They were like, this is not a video for children. And they were so mad. And they put it like in the highest shelf in the closet so that we couldn't like get it. But then the next morning I was leaving and I had to be like, hey guys, that was a rental. I got to like get it back to the video store. Can I like have that video back? And they were like, I guess you can just like take it. It was very awkward. But
Get it out of this house.
So they didn't appreciate Ralphus then?
They did. They did not.
That's
sad. It was very awkward to like ask for that film back so that I didn't get late fees.
By the way, it's insane to me that you watched that at 10. Like, I mean, I watched Basket Case around that age and like Dawn of the Dead and shit like that. But I feel like Blood-Sucking Freaks is a whole other level of whatever that would be, exploitation. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was the first time I saw like male genitalia, and it was in between like hoagie bread, when they were like eating like the penis hoagies at the end. I was like, all right, pretty cool.
Okay. What are your opinion on Hong Kong Cat 3 films like Ebola Syndrome, Red to Kill, and Great by an Angel? I can't say the actual title.
So I've only seen Ebola Syndrome, and I haven't seen the other ones, though I do appreciate him censoring the word raped with the little asterisk, like very, very demure. I like
very
that.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah, I was confused. I didn't know what he meant there.
Yeah. Roped by an angel?
Ripped.
By an angel?
Right.
I like Ebola Syndrome. I thought it was a fun movie. I like stuff like that.
Yeah, it's kind of. I was surprised because it's kind of goofy. Like most of it's just a goofy movie, right? It didn't offend me at all, but So, at what point in time did you feel like, hey, and we'll talk about it. You've got a podcast that you recently started where you're like, hey, I want to kind of get back and do reviews again, do something creative. Like, how long ago was it before you actually finally pulled the trigger and started your podcast?
Very recently. I think we started in June of this year. So it's always been something percolating in the back of my mind. Like I've always had this desire to get back into like the cryptique thing and do it again. Cause I loved it. I just loved it. And if no one watched it, I still would have loved doing it. So I think around April, I was looking for one of my girlfriends, and none of my friends like these movies, by the way. So, which is kind of the point of the podcast. But I convinced one of my girlfriends who absolutely hates horror films to do it with me. And the point of the podcast is we watch a film every week and she hates them and I get to hear her takes on them. Like everyone has a friend that does not like these movies. And she's a very smart chick and she's very charming, but I love hearing her takes on these movies because she really, some of them she likes. You know, we just watched The Thing and she was like, you know what, this was a good movie. I'm like, yeah, it is a good movie. And then other ones, she's just like, she didn't speak to me for 3 days after I made her watch Martyrs. Like, I just got
Holy shit.
Well, when is
Really?
somebody was asking about Salo earlier. You guys could do a Salo episode.
Yeah.
We will. Yeah. The whole point of
Okay.
it, it's not just horror, but like I do like brutal films in the broadest sense of the word. So, you know, a Salo film would be like right up. I love that movie, frankly. To show her that stuff. But like Martyrs, like it was weird for me to see someone destroyed psychologically because she was really
Yeah, that one's kind
Is
of
it?
rough.
I remember watching that film and like immediately after watching it, I was like just walking around kind of like questioning life. Like what? I feel like that's the reaction you have to that film.
Well, that's a movie
Is-
that I don't think you need to own because, like, I watched it the one time and I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Like, I don't.
Well,
don't
the
think I'll
dude,
need to
I
own
bought
it.
I just bought the Blu-ray from like the guy at a booth at a convention of Martyrs, and he was like, "Have you seen this?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I saw it like a long time ago." And he goes, "So you know what this is?" And I was like, "He's like, you want to watch it again?" And I was like, "Yeah, I just kind of wanted to see the
He wants to
Blu-ray."
watch it over.
I mean,
and
he was
over and over.
actively like trying to talk me out of buying the Blu-ray. I was like, "Yeah, I'm good. I've seen it."
But is that the hardest? I mean, like for me, like I
No.
love, like it's not the hardest film I've ever had to watch in terms of like hard films.
Oh no.
No.
Mm-mm.
I could name many more that y'all could watch that would probably like make her, you know, go into some sort of catatonic state. But for example, like have her watch any of the August Underground and then tell me like what she says about that.
Yeah.
That's you know.
So, Brutal Film Girl Experience podcast, right? What are some of the episodes so far that you've done? And you can find this pretty much anywhere. Just search for it.
Yeah, it's just a regular podcast. So I think we've done 14 episodes to date, and they do range from like more disturbing, like art house films to horror films. So I think we started off with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Obviously, that's an easy film to start with. We did Haneke's The Piano Teacher, which is a really kind of brutal film to watch. That's less of a horror film and more of a psychological, you know, he did Funny Games. You're aware of what he's able to do. And I think The Piano Teacher is worse than Funny Games in terms of psychological torture, but it's a beautiful film. We did Street Trash, which is one of my favorites. It's such a good film. It's like, and Emma, my friend, my co-host, hated Street Trash so much. So like, it's one of my favorite films. I just love it so much.
I don't say anybody could hate Street Trash.
Yeah, but I don't think we're like the mainstream film people.
Yeah, you guys get it. You get it.
But yeah, it's great. It's one of the best, like slime,
The goo.
body horror
Gooey
kind of
movie.
movies. Yeah.
I like a good melt movie. Yeah, for sure. And then we did The Warriors classic. Oh, we did Necromantic, one of my favorites. Love Necromantic.
Holy shit. Did you do Necromantic 2 though? Have you got to that one yet? Where like
I know we should have done a double feature. I think someone did release the two films together, like because they're on. I mean, the first Necromantic is like 70 minutes long.
It's the longest 70 minutes of my life. Also,
there's one movie that's too brutal for Uncle Bill. Even did you do the what the hell's the name of it? I've never seen it.
Which one is it?
Oh God, Serbian
no.
film. Yeah,
no,
Serbian film.
Oh, yeah, Serbian film's pretty bad. We haven't done that yet. I'm gonna put that on the list. So.
She'll quit after that.
Yeah, you should.
I'm done.
I
That
tried
should
to
be
space out because she does get like, it's weird to see someone so psychologically affected by these things, and it makes me realize that I just like have a horrible callus over my entire body because So like when I gave her Martyrs, I was like, next week we'll do something fun, like
Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
No, but I mean Serbian film I've never watched, nor do I think I ever will.
Oh, really? Interesting.
That's like the only one. But something about that movie and knowing what that movie's about, I just know I don't want to see it. So there's like questions coming
There's
in,
tons,
like
yeah. I can't
rapid
keep up with
fire
it.
here.
We appreciate everybody joining us on here. We've got 118 people checking us out live. So everybody thumbs up and like and share and all that good stuff.
Terrifier. What are your thoughts on Terrifier? That's one of the questions.
I like the original Terrifier just because I appreciate like a grassroots film that's like, but am I like a Terrifier like super fan? No, like I'm not. But like I liked it. I thought it was fun. I'm always like I view Terrifier in the same way like I view like Splatter Farm back in the day, like kind of like a interesting, kind of indie film type of thing. So
That's a good comparison, actually. I didn't think about it, but yeah. And Cannibal Campout and all those.
Well, there's reports that the new Terrifier movie, Terrifier 3, is opening this weekend, and people are walking out and vomiting and shitting and pissing everywhere.
They shit in their pants.
What do you think about that, Miko?
Pussies. I agree. Not really? Like Terrifier 3? Like, I don't know.
I haven't seen the Christmas Terrifier movie.
Yeah.
All right. Then, okay, bottom line then. What, in your opinion, is the most disturbing film?
It's a great question. And I think it plays on like what your deepest fear is, because for me, like the post-apocalyptic shit really gets to me. So like you show me like Threads, that really got to me. Or like The Road, like Cormac McCarthy's like The Road.
Yep.
Those films really get to me. I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, it's like, Come and See is a good film. I really like Come and See. Cannibal Holocaust. Cannibal Holocaust doesn't disturb me.
The music is the most disturbing thing, I think.
The animal cruelty scenes in it disturb me, but like besides that, like it's contained. Like for me, the most disturbing films are the actually a great film that I found disturbing that everyone should watch. Anayara. It's a sci-fi film. It's about a spaceship that goes off course, and it's like a luxury spaceship. So it's like almost like a Vegas hotel. And so there's thousands of people in it, and it veers off course, and then they slowly run out of resources over time. And it's kind of a metaphor for the slow decay of the earth, really. And it's a really bleak film. It's based off a Swedish poem from the 1950s. I recommend everyone watch it because it is a very dark film. It's a beautiful film, but it's a good one. So if you like stuff like Threads or The Road or something like that, it's going to be up your alley.
So getting back into the Critique show. Now, do you have any funny stories, anything that happened with fans of the show while it was on? Did anybody try to stalk you or anything like Danielle Harris back in the day?
I don't remember anyone in particular. I remember there being like videos made that were like, where on the earth is Miko Macabre? And it was just like some guy with like a camera being like huffing into the camera, being like,
I know where she is.
Yeah, like where is she? We got to find her,
Parked out in front of your house or whatever.
Yeah. But there was no one that was like, I do remember someone on the message board really hated me. I can't remember his name. There was like one user that was like, every time I posted anything, he would be like, it's not good. Like, like it was crazy.
Like he's a troll. Like a
yeah. But like,
there was a lot of those back in the day though. Yeah. They just hated everything.
Yeah. And people started trying to hijack the message board, and it kind of just fell apart.
Yeah. But I like haters. Haters are like an integral part of like producing content. So if you have haters, it's usually like a good sign.
That's true. Right? They're usually your most loyal people are the haters.
Yeah, for sure. You guys had some haters when you guys did your little hiatus. It was very funny to read like the why are they breaking up, type of.
There's this one asshole on
breaking up. Like the Carpenters.
There was this one asshole on YouTube that kept reviewing like our On the Road movie, like a DVDs, and the end of the pit and everything, and he would get, I don't know where he got them at, but he made fun of us in every video. Talked about how much we sucked ass, and talked about how nerdy Uncle Bill was and how fat I was and all that shit.
Wow.
Killer.
Hot takes.
So,
Yeah.
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 But we all have haters. Even Steve.
So-
I hate Steve. No, I'm just kidding. I love Steve.
No, I love Steve.
Somebody
did ask though, since you're doing this podcast, is it a straight up podcast? Or are we talking about like an audio?
Yeah, it's
podcast?
just an audio. Like I can't do the video stuff. Seems like a lot of work to me. So
It's not. It's
Yeah.
really not.
Really? I don't know. I don't need to show my face.
Well, I can understand, but
Yeah.
you know. So what's some upcoming episodes that you have that's on the horizon with the podcast coming up? Brutal Film Girl Experiment
Yeah.
podcast.
Well, we're doing all horror films for this month. It's going to be great. We just did The Thing, which is one of quite possibly my favorite horror film of all time. Is The Thing. I just can't even say anything bad about it. And then next week we're releasing Psycho, because let me just tell you how fun it was to watch Psycho with someone that doesn't even know what Psycho was about. Like, it was fantastic. Yeah, she was like, oh my God, his mom is killing people. I was like, it was wild to me.
My wife is the same way. She watched it for the first time last year, and she's one of those people that keep asking, like, what's going on? Where's his mom at, or whatever, you know.
Listen, there's a whole thread or a whole genre of YouTube videos where people react to, like, you know, scenes from famous movies like they've never seen. And there's no way these people haven't seen. It's like Shawshank Redemption and like Jaws. It's like, how the hell do they find people that have never seen these movies?
Living
But I
under
guess
a
it's possible. Like,
My
if people
wife,
just-
my wife
yeah.
is not. She's never seen the Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, it's like, I feel like there's a lot of people that just paid absolutely no attention to
Get
movies.
this shit. She had
Whatsoever.
never seen, until I showed it to her, The Wizard of Oz. Never seen.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't see how could somebody miss Wizard of Oz though? It was on TV like all the time back in the day, like every Christmas or whatever. They would play it on NBC. I don't know.
People live under rocks, man. It's kind of crazy. Yeah.
So, amazing. Matt says, amazing that she has a friend who is willing to do that with her. My friend refuses to watch shit I try to watch together.
It's hard, let me tell you. Like, she's threatening to quit after virtually every episode. So we'll see how long it goes on for before she bounces out. So
I don't think we asked this one. Dirk, who's a big Italian horror guy. Are you a fan of Umberto Lenzi, who did the big thing? I think he did was what?
He did Cannibal Ferox. That would be
Cannibal
probably
Ferox.
what.
Yeah,
I think I've seen that, but isn't that just a ripoff of Cannibal Holocaust?
Yeah,
I
it
it
used to
is.
that.
Yeah.
And I did see Cannibal Holocaust quite young. Again, too young. I think like my parents were divorcing at that time, so I was like given carte blanche to like rent anything. I'm sure I've seen that, but I
Eaten
can't think of
Alive.
anything else he's done.
Ghost
He
House,
did-
Eaten Alive, Hitcher in the Dark.
He did a bunch of Giallo stuff too, but for some reason I'm completely blanking on what that is right now. Dirk probably knows, but what about Giallo? Is that
Quiet Place
anything
to
that you're
Kill. Yeah.
interested in?
Yeah. I mean, like, again, like Argento is to me like the king of that. What's the one with the killer in the Roman fashion house? That's my favorite. The really like sumptuous one where it's like the models in Rome being murdered. It's gonna kill me. I gotta look that
Is it an
up.
Argento one?
Yeah, it's an Argento.
Suspiria.
No. I don't know if
Opera.
it's Bava. I think it's Bava. Someone help me out here. Yes, Blood and Black Lace. That's it. That's
Blood
it.
and Back.
Oh
Lake,
yeah, that's
baby.
like one of Dirk's favorites. Yeah.
I like that. That's one of my favorites. And yeah, all of the Argento ones. Blood and Black Lace was an Argento though. That was what, Bava?
That was Bava.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mario Bava.
Yeah. I like those. I'm more of a supernatural. Like I prefer the supernatural over like the slasher stuff. I've always liked that much better. So in terms of like subgenres, like give me like the cosmic horror or the body horror over like the slasher stuff like any day. So but I do like the stylized kind of I mean the Italian stuff is always like, even if the plot isn't great, it's like you're guaranteed to have like good style and attract.
Is there anything like recent body horror stuff? Because that seems like it's kind of making a comeback, like that genre.
Yeah, we just did a episode on The Substance, so if anyone
Shit,
hasn't
I want
seen
to see that movie.
Yeah, I'm
I
wanting to see
gotta
that
say,
too.
I thought it was great. Like some people will hate on it, but like it really is reminiscent of like the two films that it reminds me of is like Cronenberg's The Fly meets Death Becomes Her. If you guys remember Death Becomes Her, which is like a fun,
Yeah.
it's a campy film, and I thought it was great. And to have this new female, I mean, these French women are fucked in the head, and I love it. Like these directors that are making these horror films, like I don't know if you guys have seen like Titan and Raw.
That's exactly what came to mind when you said that. I was like, yep.
Yeah.
Having people fuck cars. So I
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, my wife watched Titan with me too, and she was like, "What?"
I would have loved to have been there when that happened, by the way.
So good.
Yeah.
So The Substance is great. I really loved Richard Stanley's The Color Out of Space. I'm a huge Richard Stanley fan. So you guys should watch that if you haven't seen it. It's an
I
HBO.
don't think I've seen that one.
Oh, you guys got to watch it. So Richard Stanley was the guy that he did like a weird sci-fi film called Hardware, and then he got engaged to be the director in The Island of Dr. Moreau. I don't know if you've seen that documentary, but it's fucking
it's amazing.
I've heard of.
But he's a wackadoo. He's very funny.
Didn't he get in trouble or something like that?
Fired because he couldn't control, to no fault of his own, he could not control Marlon Brando and Val Kilmer in that film.
Oh no, this is something more recent. Like he got in trouble, like legal.
He's got
trouble.
allegations for
okay.
sexual harassment.
Maybe that's what it is.
Who doesn't have allegations?
That's true.
It's a fair point.
Right? Like I'm sure.
But didn't he like one of the things was he let like Marlon Brando bring like there's like a little guy that's in the
that guy wasn't even supposed to be in the film. They had a real actor whose role got like thrown in the trash can because Marlon Brando was like, "What if we just had the little midget instead?"
And he's literally in every scene with him. He's just kind of like sitting there. He does nothing but like
crazy. You guys got to watch this documentary. I think it's free on Amazon. It's called Lost Soul: The Journey of the Making of the Island of Dr. Moreau, and it is a fucking hilarious documentary. Because after he gets fired, he goes to live. He just wanders off into the jungle, and he lives in the jungle for like months. And then he manages to get his way back on set, but he's wearing like a dog man costume, so no one can tell it's him. It's the whole thing's whack. It's very fun. But he actually
like he's just kind of like spying on the whole like movie and stuff, and he's obsessed with it. Yeah,
he's a crazy person. You see that from the documentary, and he took. After that happened, he took like a 2-decade hiatus from filmmaking, and then he came back with The Color Out of Space, which has Nick Cage in it, and it's a great body horror, cosmic horror film, and I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was a really good H.P. Lovecraft kind of, which I enjoy, adaptation, so you should check it out.
What about Brandon Cronenberg's stuff? Have you checked out any of his stuff?
Love it. I thought Possessor, I mean, that was one of my I like these films that, no longer it's the woman being the victim, but she's the aggressor. And I thought that was a great film. Like this woman was like, fuck my family. I want to kill people. And it's great. I thought that was a great film. And so weird because, I like Cronenberg a lot, but his son is kind of outshining him a little bit now.
Now for sure.
So, yeah, I thought it was great. I like that film quite a bit.
Infinity Pools.
If you haven't seen Infinity Pool,
I liked it. Yeah.
Lord, that's another where I was like, what the fuck?
It was good. It was good.
You ever just watch a movie and you're just like, how the hell does anybody think about this? Like, how do you even think to write a scene like this? Like, I had that thought a bunch of times during Infinity Pool, but yeah.
Yeah. Thought it was great. And the other two, I remember, I loved, you guys see Baskin?
Hmm.
Oh,
No.
for body horror, you guys got to watch it. If you guys are fans of like Hellraiser and stuff like that, Baskin is a Turkish horror film. I think you guys would really like it. It is a gory body horror, weird cosmic horror kind of thing. It's kind of it's an interesting film. I would recommend checking it out. It was one of the first films I was like, wow, did you guys see The Void? They're very similar films. Like The Void and Baskin to me are
How old are those? Are those fairly new?
they're new. Yeah. I think they were both around like 2017. Someone in the comments can correct me. But both kind of weird, very weird, extremely gory, extremely odd and interesting plot-wise body horror films that came out. So Baskin was out of Turkey. And I think The Void was an American film, but I like them both. They're trippy. Someone just said in the comments, yeah, they're both very like kind of like acid trippy kind of films, but I like them a lot.
Phantasmat, is that true? I've never heard that.
I don't think so.
Is that like a glass bottom boat ride or something like?
Yeah.
I've never heard
I'm
that.
gonna say that infinity pose where you woman cranks your hog while you pee. I like that.
So is there been any mainstream stuff that you've seen that you kind of like? Like there's a lot of franchise stuff that is always coming out. What do you think of the David Gordon Green Halloween movies?
They're okay. I mean, like, I'm just not a huge fan of like the stuff that just gets cranked out these days. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of what else is like coming out that's like
you've got the Scream franchise, those are still being made. We all love those movies. The Halloween franchise, you've got
Texas Chainsaw
Texas
Massacre.
Chainsaw one on Netflix. That's an amazing movie.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's great.
Wonderful film. Wonderful.
Are you guys pulling my leg? Like,
Yeah, it's fucking awful. Like it's one of the worst things ever
then
made.
why would
But
you watch it? I can't bring myself to watch these films that just like make me sad inside. You know?
we do it for the fans.
Yeah.
We do it for the.
I mean, it's one of those movies where just when you think that series couldn't get any lower, because that Leatherface. Did you see the Leatherface movie that they did before that, like the prequel or whatever? Oh,
I gotta say, I did watch one. I saw a recent Puppet Master where they're at the Nazi convention.
Yep.
You guys see that? That was really actually quite funny to me. Like I did have some giggles during that one. But like for me, it's like it better be really bad. If it's just mediocre, I don't want it. Like, but like if you go like full in where it's just like a huge steaming turd, like I'll watch that.
That movie did go full like it went as far as it could go with the ideas that it had.
It was the drizzling shits for sure. Scream 7, yeah, they're working on Scream 7.
Should be
7
great.
fucking Scream movies.
Yeah.
And all of the unveils of the Scream films since the first one had fucking sucked, I think. And we always talk about that. Like, they're always let down. It's somebody's boyfriend, somebody's brother, somebody's mother, or whatever. Who cares?
So, okay, I got to ask this question too. What about like A24? What are your thoughts on A24?
I used to like them, but I think they've sold out now, right? Like they're going like full like big production company. But back in the day, I mean, like I liked their. I'm trying to think of like, I mean, like they funded some of the really new, fresh films that I think we can all agree are good, even though like, you know, it's hard to like talk about how good Hereditary is because everyone talks about Hereditary and it's a little like the films get so oversaturated because they've been made for such a mainstream audience, and it has opened horror up, I think, to people that would not typically watch horror films. So like I liked you know, Hereditary, The Witch, The Lighthouse, Saint Maud, I thought was a good. Some people hated
We just watched that. Yeah.
You did you like it?
Yeah, it was. It's a crazy, like, slow psychological movie, but it's great. Yeah.
I thought it was great. Some people didn't like it. I really like it. I don't like, listen, I'm a little sick of looking at Mia Goth's face. Like, yes, I get it. She's pretty and she's got like that warbly molested girl voice of like a woman, a chick that got like molested by
James.
she's so pretty. Like,
what's bad is like, okay, because she does the different voice in the Pearl and X and all that. But like you hear her real fucking voice, you're like,
it's hilarious.
Yeah, I do like the Ty. Someone said I do like the I like the old school Ty West movies, like House of the Devil. Like, really, I love those throwback films. I saw that in theaters when it first came out.
Do you know who Hammerhead is?
No, Hammerhead. What about Hammerhead? What the fuck is that?
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Anya Taylor-Joy.
We call her Hammerhead. She kind of looks like a hammerhead shark.
But a hot one. She's suffering from Emma Stone syndrome, which is I'm tired of seeing this bitch. I think I need like a break from her. Like, why do we have the same like 4 actresses in everything? It's like Florence Pugh, Anna Taylor-Joy, Zendaya, Mia Goth, and Emma Stone. I'm like, I just need a break. I need some new faces.
I mean, you gotta admit, of those 4 people you just named, the only one that's gonna jerk somebody off while they're peeing is gonna be Mia Goth. I mean, you gotta give her that.
The infinity pool. We'll do it to you.
One of my friends said that one of my friends lives in LA, and she said they saw Shia LaBeouf and Mia Goth at a Chuck E. Cheese just hanging out with like.
I could totally believe that.
Yeah. Which is like, you do Mia Goth is a total freak. But I thought she was great in the Suspiria remake. And I did see her in some weird indie survivalist film. What was it? It was like a post-apocalyptic. It was bizarre.
Somebody in here will know.
Yeah. Someone will know. It was like apocalypse and Mia Goth had to like have sex for food. And it was like crazy. It was good though. She is a good actress. I want her to be. I'm not a huge fan of Pearl and what's the other one? The other
X and
Maxine.
Yeah, I'm not a huge. I like Ty West. I like The Innkeepers quite a bit, but I felt like that was pandering a little bit to horror, like typical horror fan. Like both that and House of the Devil, I thought were very much geared towards old school. Nostalgic, I was like, I like this. It's not a great film, but like, I'm interested.
This comment, I just can't not go past this comment.
Look, boys, that's come on.
Yeah, she was bringing up the animatronic bear dick that receded back into the bear after it got done playing the banjo solo.
Mike Flanagan, how about his films? And are you excited about his Exorcist movie? That's
I think he's a talented guy. Is everything he does magic? No, but like I liked his Netflix stuff for sure. And what was the film he did? I like that one too.
Dr. Sleep.
I thought Dr. Sleep was fantastic, and I was ready to shit all over it because I was like, a sequel to The Shining, like. No,
everybody was ready to shit all over. That was the thing.
I think he's the reason. Though, like, if somebody else directed that, it would have been the biggest fucking turd of all time.
Yeah.
What about Hush? Have you seen his movie Hush, which is about like the deaf girl that gets stalked by the guy that comes in around her house?
I don't think I've seen Hush.
That's actually really good too.
Yeah, I'll look into that. I did see Don't Breathe, which reminds me of Hush, but like
it is like that, except the dude's blind and she's deaf. Like there's a million movies like that. Where there's some impairment that they've got. Like
we're in a modern day, like let's make horror movies, but someone's impaired.
Yep. Yeah. Somebody's got clubfoot and they can't run.
They're all ripping off what was it? Eyes of a Stranger.
Oh yeah.
Wait Until Dark is what they're ripping off, to be honest.
What year was that?
Wait Until Dark's like the 60s. That's Audrey Hepburn. Where she's blind and like I forget who it is comes in and tries to like kill her. Anyway.
Yeah.
Thoughts on Eli Roth's dumbass? That's literally the comment.
We met Eli Roth earlier this year too. I don't know if you saw that. He's got
like the most punchable face. Like, don't you just want to like punch him in the face? Like
we have since 2006. Yeah.
Yeah. I just watched. It's so funny. Like I didn't watch Thanksgiving when it came out, and I was like, I literally watched it like 3 nights ago, being like, all right, like it's got like an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. and I was like, this is not that good. Like, it's just like, it was like a fun movie, but like, I just don't understand the Eli Roth like hype.
You know, the sad thing, it's the best thing he's ever done. It really is. Like, if you go back and look at his filmography, that's the best thing that guy's ever done.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about horror fans. They love to complain.
So that's all you really need to know.
That's not true, though. I think horror fans are the most accepting, like horror fans will embrace the shittiest movie if it has the right. He's a little bitch. Whatever.
What's so funny is we walk up to him. Uncle Bill's got the Dead Pit Radio shirt on. He goes, "Oh, Dead Pit Radio," and then he still tries to smile and all this, right?
Uh-huh.
And he's like, "Oh yeah, we'll talk. Shoot me a message. We'll do that interview."
He's like, "We'll set something up," and then one of his handlers like grabs a squeak.
Get out of
like,
here. Get the fuck out of here.
Get out of my face.
Oh my God.
So, any other newer movies, not just horror, coming out this year that you're looking forward to?
I just watched Strange Darling. So it came out straight to video, I believe. So if you haven't seen it, I recommend it. I really like it. It's kind of reminds me of, like, I don't know if you guys have seen The House That Jack Built. But if it was a woman, I don't want to spoil anything, but like another one of those kind of like subversive
Somebody
films.
made us watch that.
Oh yeah? Did you like it?
Lars von Trier, man, that dude needs to settle his ass down. Lord have mercy. I mean, yeah, it was actually like, I do enjoy films where they're like completely like out there and different. Some of the stuff in that movie also, I was like, oh, Jesus Christ.
He really tests. I'm a huge Lars von Trier fan, but that man needs like years of therapy.
Yes, he needs
I feel bad for any woman that's ever come in contact with him. So
another Mia Goth. Didn't Mia Goth make a movie with him too? Like
she was in the necrophiliac movie with him, with Charlotte Gainsbourg. What's it called? Not Necromantic, but the other. Someone help me out in the comments.
It was something where she's I don't even think I can talk about what her scenes in that movie are about on YouTube.
It's really fucked up. Yeah.
But it's really fucked up. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Strange Darling just came out. Watch that. I thought that was very good. I'm trying to think of anything else that I've seen recently.
Nymphomaniac.
Nymphomaniac. Yeah, that's what it is. Which is not one of Lars's best films, but still, listen, if you just want to watch some fucked up shit, like, it's great. And Charlotte Gainsbourg, you could watch her do anything. She's just got like, he's so good at getting these women that just have this gravitas. Like Mia Goth has the gravitas. Charlotte Gainsbourg has the gravitas, and he's good at getting those women in his films. But he's a fucked up dude, for sure. Trying to think what other recent what do you guys think of Long Legs? Like, did you guys think it was shitty?
Listen,
I liked it, but I think they went too far with the end. Like the whole, like the orb thing, and I don't want to give it away, but there was too much. It didn't need to be that. If he was just a crazy ass that brainwashed this lady into thinking what she thought, that would have been good enough.
I think, honestly, every scene that Nicolas Cage was in that movie, I was just like, this is fucking killer. I don't know why. Because it's simultaneously hilarious and like...
He's channeling Tiny Tim. I think that's who he was going for.
Completely different, too. Like, you've never seen anybody like do a performance like that. For good or bad, like however you want to look at it. But I just enjoy watching something where it's like, I've never seen this before. I've never seen a guy give a performance like that. I've never seen like the opening of that movie. I thought was amazing, and then
I thought Miko Monroe did a really great job in that movie too.
She's great too. Yeah. Like she's one of my favorite up and coming horror actresses, and I think she killed. Like I just want to see her do more genre stuff. And same with who is the chick? Jane Levy. I like her.
Jane Levy from Evil Dead, the Evil Dead remake.
Remake. I think they're both like. I just want to keep them doing genre stuff and not like mainstream anything. So, but yeah, I felt the same way. I thought I enjoyed it. I just think the ad campaign hyped it up to be something that it wasn't going to be. And I'm a big I like Oz Perkin films generally. I thought it was a fun film. People shout all over it, but I think their expectations were too high with it.
There's a lot of people that really should. But I'll tell you when I knew I liked it, because all the way through the film, I was like, I can't tell. You ever just be watching a film, you're like, I don't know if I like this or I hate it or if like how I feel about it really. And it got to the very end, and there's that part where he's like, "Hail Satan."
Yeah.
And like, it's just like I was like, okay, I love it because like he's in on the whole joke.
Uncle
Like,
Bill
he's
jumped
in
up
on
and
the
like,
whole thing.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah,
because,
baby.
like, it wasn't because like man,
Hail
or anything.
Satan.
It was just because like you could tell like he got it. Like he knew what he was doing throughout the whole thing, just by that one thing that he did at the end.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was a good performance for sure.
Big Idea 3 is asking about the Saw movies. Are you a fan
Jesus,
of
there's
the
no way.
brutality?
I mean,
Saw.
I thought the original Saw was so cool and fresh, but like I'm not into like the franchise stuff. Like there's such a beauty in making a banger and then ending it and not like continuing on. Like I can't. There are like a rare few films where the sequel is better than the original, but like, you know, I like a long way of saying I like the original Saw, but I'm not a huge fan of like Saw 7 or whatever we're on now. So
we always talk about like it kind of went downhill when he found a jump drive in his urethra. And like, do you remember like there was one of them where they had to open up his stomach and they found like an SD card and like it had more games on it, and you're just like, okay, like it's kind of getting out of hand now.
With me and the Saw movies though, it's like we would see him in the theater. We did a couple on the roads for I don't know what it was, Saw 5 and 7 or whatever. And like there would be that big like unveil at the end where they're playing that music and everything. Did it. And they'd show people and I'm like, who the fuck is, I don't know who that is. What? And the Eddie Wilson from Eddie and the Cruisers, those, you know, the ones that he was
the
in.
detective, Constance Mandelar.
Detective
the guy,
Eddie
the
Wilson.
detective came into it. Like, yeah. It's just,
and like there was all these people from supposedly past movies, and I didn't know who any of them were. And I was like, well, what's the point in me watching? I don't know who these fucking people are. It's a detective, a doctor, a lawyer, you know.
The wet one wants to know, what are your thoughts on conventions? Do you ever go to conventions? Do you have any thoughts about conventions in general?
Yeah, I mean, like I've always wanted to go. It's just I feel like they're so far away. Like they're never like convenient to me. I feel like I got to go like 3 or 4 hours to go. I mean, like
I guarantee you don't.
Really?
Guarantee
I
it.
mean, like, yeah.
There's a damn convention within like 15 minutes of our house, and we live in the middle of fucking nowhere every year.
Yeah, but I feel like they're usually like kind of out like away from the cities a little bit. I don't know. I would go. I just like I also don't want to pay like $80 for like Tom Savini's autograph. I don't know what they're charging these days, but like
you don't want to meet Tom Savini, trust me.
Oh, really? Is he not
gonna, well, wait a minute. You actually probably do want to meet Tom Savini.
Yeah, Tom will be nice to you.
Yeah,
he'll love you.
Never mind.
He's probably like 70 years old now, right?
He's like 75. Wait, I think he's like 75, 76, something like that. Yeah, he's old.
But like, what is it now? Like, I bet it's like a bunch of like Walking Dead fans and like not like.
Well, that ended, thankfully to God, because The Walking Dead became like.
But it ruined horror conventions forever. The popularity of that show, because the prices just skyrocketed. You had like the janitor from season 3 of The Walking Dead or whatever, and he raised his price to $60. So Toy Newkirk from Nightmare on Elm Street 4 raised her price to $60.
That's
You're like, oh,
wild. The whole idea of like an autograph costing money, it's really capitalizing just on how much people love horror. I don't know. I just like, maybe I'm a communist, but like.
Did you hear how much Ozzy Osbourne is doing a convention this weekend in California? Did you hear about this at all?
I did. What is it, like $700 to like?
Right, but for the $700, you get an autograph of the whole Osbourne family on a photo. You can't just, right. If you want additional autographs, You can do that, but it's $200 for an 8x10, $250 for an album signed, up to $700 for a pick guard or a guitar. If you wanted Ozzy to sign that. So
pathetic. Like it makes, I mean, like Ozzy's like one of the best, like, you know, rock stars of all time. And now like, it just like, I'd rather like suck truck stop dick than charge money for autographs. Like, I don't know. It just seems a little pathetic to me to like ask for that much money. Like, does he really need the money? Like,
Yeah, he's fallen on hard times.
well, what's going on over there? I don't
he's
know.
got a gambling problem. It's all
I-
gone.
I mean, my thought is honestly about something like that, to get him to go to a convention, and you know, Wes was talking about this, like he can't really do anything else now except go to conventions, right? To interact with fans. And the other part of it is it's got to be worthwhile somehow. Like, so he's got to charge out the ass for it to be worth him even going, because I mean, he could go to a concert or something like that and make, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of dollars probably. So he's got to charge apparently roughly around $1,000 if you want like an autograph of just him. It seems fine.
It's sad to me though.
That'll work.
Like, I don't know.
Well, you've got a lot of these bigger name people that are coming to these shows too now, that like back in the day, you know, the cast of Scream, you would never think that they would come to shows. And I think Stallone has went to a few shows. So like upper echelon people were starting to come in, but it's at that price. So I mean, I can't even pay, like for instance, we went to that Horror Hound show. Back in the day, there was probably 3 or 4 people that I would have, $20 for an autograph. Sure. They've like quadrupled that at this point. Like Kane Hodder used to be like $5 an autograph, $80 an autograph for Kane Hodder.
Savini is, what is he now? 60, 80, somewhere in that range.
Sure.
Okay. If you were to go to a show, who would you want to meet? Like, who would be the person that you would most want to meet?
Ooh. I mean, like a dream, like it's a convention of like any horror fan, any horror like icon. I'm like,
Alive or dead?
Alive or
Were
dead?
you putting dead people in there? Okay.
Sure.
Okay, that's crazy.
present.
They can dig them up and set them. Yeah.
I mean, probably George Romero or like Vincent Price. Like, I'm a huge Vincent Price fan too. I think Tom Savini's a cool dude, but like, is he? You think he's an asshole? Probably an asshole, right? Like,
Oh, like I said, he won't be an asshole to you.
No,
Yeah.
he would be nice to you. I can guarantee you that. But
yeah.
But yes, like
Yeah.
if you know, there's so many different stories about him being an asshole to people. Like he's just very cold when you go up to him.
Yeah.
So
But
I
the
mean,
weirdest thing, when we interviewed him on the show back in the day, he was like the coolest interview. Like we were both shocked, because this was after Uncle Bill met him that first time and pretty much traumatized you, right?
Yeah, he was very traumatic. Well, he was the first guy I ever met at any convention, right? And I walked up to him and I was just like completely nerded out. And he was like, yeah. I mean, that's basically what he was like. He was like, yeah, that's great. And
Sure.
then, like,
Give me a piece of
signed it.
salami.
Yeah, signed it.
He was
and
eating
just kinda like
this meat and cheese plate or whatever.
I'm changing my answer. I'd love to meet Linnea Quigley because I think she's
yeah.
like,
she's awesome, man.
Like she's in so many of my favorite films. So, and I follow her on Instagram, and she just seems like such a cool chick.
Yeah.
So does Barbara Crampton too, like the old Scream Queens. Like, so I'll add those.
Barbara Crampton, man, for her age, holy shit. Like she's in her 60s, I think, at this point. And wow.
Oh.
She must be a vegetarian or something. I don't know. Or
Yeah.
bathing vampire's blood or something or whatever.
They all look good, really.
both of them are great to meet, though. Both those two, anyway,
Oh yeah.
are amazing.
You met them before?
Yeah. Yeah, at different times. Yeah, we met.
Linnea at, it was a convention in Louisville, and James Caron was also set up right beside her from Return of the Living Dead, and met them both at that show. I think that was the only reason we went, right? There was like nobody else at the
that
show.
was it.
Yeah.
Cool. Who was the biggest asshole that you've met besides Tom Savini?
Tom Atkins for me.
He didn't even hesitate like for a second.
Easily the biggest asshole. Tom Atkins.
I mean, there's really not even a close second for me. I mean, Savini was like by far the worst.
Well, Uncle Bill witnessed the Tom Atkins thing. Do you think he was the biggest asshole ever?
Do I think that Tom
anybody
Atkins
that you've ever seen?
No, I think Miguel Nunez was the biggest asshole I've ever seen. Like Miguel Nunez is the dude from Return of the Living Dead, and he was in Joanna Man.
Friday the 13th.
He was he's the biggest douchebag ever. But also, though, I don't know if you know Richard Lynch. Richard Lynch was the bad guy in Bad Dreams. He was also in Invasion USA. He was in, what the hell else was he in? Like horror film was
Alligator 2, The Mutation.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Anyway, he was completely completely off his ass, drunk or high one. And like I just brought him a poster to sign, and he like was trying to open it up, and he fucking just ripped it straight down the middle.
He was really fucked up though, man.
Yeah. So I don't know if you call that an asshole, but it definitely was like not one of my most pleasant experiences.
There's a picture too. I don't know if you've ever been around somebody like this where he would get, you could smell the booze on him. Or I don't know. He was probably doing some sort of pills or something too. I don't know. Multiple things. But he would get uncomfortably close to your face and talk like almost right into your mouth or whatever. He's like, because I was going to get a picture with him. You get a free photo back in the day. They didn't care. They weren't charging you for selfies back then. They didn't even call them selfies back then. But he was like, come here, big fella. We'll take a photo. That photo, the photo's on the Facebook page if anybody wants to check it out.
But to me, actually, though, the best person to meet at a con of anybody I've ever met is Felissa Rose from Sleepaway Camp.
Oh, cool.
She is the best person to meet. If you had one person that like I think would be like the best experience, it would be her.
What about Tony Moran?
I'm the only one that's Michael Myers, you fucking bitch.
Yeah. It's good to know. So
we 148 people are on here. It's 11:25 in the PM on Eve Cove. And we appreciate you sticking around with us this long. We appreciate everybody tuning in and everything. You want to talk about your podcast a little bit more? Get some people to check it out.
Yeah, I mean, like, listen, it's just a podcast. I don't want to upsell it too much. I don't want everyone to be disappointed when they listen to it. But the premise is it's two chicks. One of them is me. One of them is my good girlfriend. We've been friends for over a decade. She fucking hates horror films. She hates psychologically disturbing films. She doesn't like anything about them. And she comes over to my apartment, and then I force her to watch one of the films with her eyes taped open, like, Clockwork Orange. And then we talk about it afterwards. And it's a silly podcast. It's, a little bit of mix of film trivia. It's not a recap podcast. There are a lot. Do you guys know this? There's a lot of these podcasts where it's like people like doing a lot play-by-play recap of the plot.
Describe everything.
Yeah.
Crazy. I'm like, that's not what this is, because if you're too much of a pussy to watch these films, then like it's not the podcast for you. It's more of a little bit of a open-ended discussion about the films and the reception of the films, and a little bit more about the meaning of the films and the making of the films. But it's a silly podcast, and it's fun to see my friend's perspective on them, because she really dislikes many of the films. And then sometimes she, like The Thing, she was like, I thought that was a great movie. And it just shocked me to hear her say that. So sometimes she surprises me, and then sometimes I show her martyrs and she won't respond to my text messages for 3 full days. So it's an interesting type of thing. So it's just two girls having a good time. So it's a fun thing. Check it out.
Yeah, it's pretty much everywhere. Brutal Film Girl Experiment podcast. And Uncle Bill, you got anything else? We appreciate you taking all the time. And I knew it's a work night and everything, so we don't want to keep you on here all night. But it was great to reminisce, talk about the good old days. Go back there if just for a day.
Yeah. And I gotta say, I have such fond memories of being on the message board with you guys. Like, it really was a different time back then. It's like the internet wasn't even the internet back then, and it felt like kind of this really small community. You just don't get that, and it's just not possible anymore. And it was really cool to like be part of like a really fun niche community where people knew each other and could make fun of each other on the message board. It was a cool time. So
Everybody gets so offended nowadays.
It's wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had a great time, but
Yeah. I mean, like you could make what you made. We could make what we made basically out of completely nothing and like it get a fan base, which was crazy. You can't do that shit now because there's 40 million people doing like the same thing. So it's like, it's not.
Yeah, but they're all soulless. Like I like on Instagram, I get like bombarded with the horror content these days. And it's always like, it just feels like very corporate and soulless to me sometimes, like the content we get. Like I get like, the floating head in front of the screen and talking about films. And I'm like, ugh, like there's just not a lot of, like
You're the worst. We'll bring him out because he's too popular, right? He's way up there. Is the Dead Meat guy. Have you ever checked him out? He's actually been in movies and he is like as mainstream as it gets.
Yeah.
Slickly produced.
There's also the British guy, the big fat cult guy. Have you guys seen that? Like that's like a British guy. I've
heard of it.
But it's like very clickbaity TikTok, like just like the TikTok style pisses me off a little bit.
Slickly produced. Yeah, the technology nowadays is.
I don't like that.
It's just the thing that kills me about these people now is it's like all these big streams always like, you guys seen Friday the 13th part 2? It's like, yeah, motherfucker, like 30 years ago. Like I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
But that's always like when I started the podcast, I was like, let's see what other ladies are reviewing. And it's like, ooh, Jaws. Have you heard of it? It's a shark film where, things go awry in the ocean,
That's exactly what it's like. It's like, here's the kill count for Halloween. It's like, nobody needs that.
Exactly. Well, it's something I always appreciate about you guys. You guys always did the deep cuts, which, not a lot, like, it really shocks you to see how many horror fans are just kind of like superficial level, like, like we like Halloween and we like Hereditary. And have you guys seen Midsummer? It's crazy, like, ooh.
You mean Midsommar?
Midsommar.
People say shit like that.
Yeah.
I hate the internet. Okay, but it was great. It was great.
Yeah, it was good reminiscing with you. You're always welcome back at any point in time if you want to come on because we're getting kind of up there. We're up to 7.6% female audience now, which is pretty huge.
Wow.
It's pretty huge for us.
Yeah.
So you can
big deal.
Maybe
is that
help
women or 3 women or you guys know or
something like that. We were at 0.89%, but like something happened and it got bumped up.
It went up a little bit. I think Garrett, he does shows with us. He's a ladies' man, if you will.
Oh yeah.
And he brings them up from time to time. But yeah, you're always welcome back on whenever you have time. Love to get you on for something else.
Yeah, I'm available, and I love film, so I'm willing to come back on and talk horror movies with you guys anytime. Now that I've made my entrance back into online.
Yeah, broken the ice.
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
Now, last thing, would there be any possibility in the future of a new Cryptique episode, even if it's a one-off, Halloween special, Christmas special, New Year's special?
I will not say no. I just have to think about what it would be. And maybe I'll put something on the old. Yeah. Because I've been thinking about doing, we're not doing video content now with the podcast, but, there are so many stupid, dumb horror films out there that I would love to showcase. I'll think about it. It's like, that takes a little more work than just recording audio, but I will not foreclose the possibility of doing that. So
oh hell yeah, there we go.
So,
never say never.
Yeah.
So the Miko Macabre YouTube page is still up. If people want to search it out, just search Miko Macabre. It pops up, and pretty much most of the episodes I think are up. You said there's a couple that's kind of got deleted, I guess, but most of the stuff's still up there.
Yeah, I think there's one piece of the burial ground episode that got like permanently deleted, but everything else is up. And I did release like everything that I had stuff privated for a while because I was worried about everything else getting deleted, and I released that stuff. So you can go check it out. I'm 19. I'm like almost naked in every like video. It's wild.
That's your yeah.
Oh,
You're 19 and almost naked, guaranteed to. You
get some
should have
views.
titled that as one of your
Quick.
videos.
Yeah, I got to redirect that to the podcast now, but like, yeah.
It had like 20 million views on it.
I rewatched it and I was like, oh my God, like it needs to be censored. But yeah, go check it out. It's very cringe, but funny at the same time from 16 years ago. So, give it a view and have a chuckle at it because it is time capsule material.
How do you pronounce your last name, though? It's kind of like...
yeah, it was a running joke on the show that I couldn't pronounce it. So I was Miko Macabre.
Macabre, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, Macabre, yeah. But so Miko Macabre, if you want to be, pedantic about it, and then Miko Macabre if you were me on the show. And the whole point of the show was I was kind of like, an airhead, Elvira type of person. So either one I'll accept. So
very cool.
Yeah.
Well, you've had a crowd in here all night. We're over 150 people.
Ooh.
So yeah, people still remember Miko, and welcome back to YouTube. We appreciate you picking Dead Pit to be the place where you kind of came back.
Yeah.
Even if it was just for one night. But yeah, I guess that is it, guys. We appreciate everybody in the chat. The next thing we got coming up is a surprise tomorrow night. I'm not going to announce what it is because when I announce it, something will come up and we won't be able to do it. So we'll just say that. But Sunday night, the Horror Roundtable returns. That'll be the next live stream. So we'll be talking Halloween horror movies and stuff we'll be watching on October 31st. And just whatever the patrons want to talk about. And that'll start at 10 o'clock. Anything else coming up, Uncle Bill, you wanted to mention?
Son of a bitch. No, Saturday Night Lives, I guess, since Friday Night Lives got pushed back. We'll do that
for
at
something.
10 p.m. Yeah, for something. So we'll do that Saturday at 10, and we'll be doing our top 5 films from 95 to 99.
That's not a good time period, in my opinion.
Well, we're gonna find out. I don't feel like it will be either, but I think we'll see.
Armageddon came out right.
Yeah.
Got to talk about that. So.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Miko, we appreciate it. We appreciate the chat and everything, and we will catch you guys next time at DeadPit.com. I'd like to tell people, thumbs up the video, Uncle Bill.
Would you?
Yes. Thumbs it up with violence and fury, and just love everything about it.
You hit the heart button, then you hit the ass button, then you hit the go fuck yourself button. Follow that up with the I don't give a shit button.
There's all kinds of wonderful shirts over at shop.deadpit.com. Simply the best horror shirts. On TeePublic, there are others, but they all suck. You can get some Dead Pit radio shirts. You can get Last South on the left. The Hills Have Eyes. Texas Chainsaw. Oh, wait, you can't say Texas Chainsaw. All kinds of shirts, folks. You're gonna love them. Shop.deadpit.com.
Special thanks goes out to our supporters on Patreon. Do you know what kind of stuff you can get on Patreon, Uncle Bill, starting at only $1 a month?
What's that?
Access to every Dead Pit show since 2005. We got almost 200 fan commentaries that we've done over the decades.
We have a literal jukebox full of songs and thousands of reviews. I don't even know how many shows are up on there now that we've done over the years.
Hundreds of thousands.
You need to figure this out now and subscribe to us on Patreon and YouTube and Instagram and help us to 1 million. The road to 1 million subscribers starts today.
So deadpitonpatreon.com. Join today. Tiers start at only $1, but I'd recommend at least the $10 tier.
You can do 50. The stock market's crashing.